Get up, let me begin. This is 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down. Get up, let me begin. This is 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down.
Shout out Young Swish.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Sit Down Morning Show with Malik Wright. I am obviously not Malik Wright this morning. I'm 𝗦𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏, joined by Tim Andrews. And as we discussed on the state of the jungle, Malik is currently dealing with the family problem, and we've sent our best wishes to him. And we're here to hold down the fort for him, right?
Next man up mentality.
Yes, sir.
Here we are.
And we know that's how he would want it. So he will be back next week. So we got Fantasy Football Friday tomorrow, and a lot of good content coming tomorrow. But we got a big show today, Tim. We got a lot to talk about. Like I said, we discussed the Bengals a little bit yesterday. We had a great Monday morning show, but we got a lot of topics. Today we're going to be discussing Giannis Antetokounmpo potential trade. It's taking over the entire NBA. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears. Are they contenders or pretenders? And a little segment called Contenders or Pretenders. So let's discuss the Giannis trade conversation first. Then we'll get into the NFL and the Bengals topic. There's a lot of rumors going around. Giannis, where is he going to be traded? Should he be traded? And the reports are that he entered the season as a real trade candidate, but he said, hey, for the better good of the team, I'm going to be committed to the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, about 2 months in the season, it's reared its ugly head. And he has said, likely it's been reported that he wants out. So there's about 5 different teams that are being thrown out everywhere on social media. But I want to start it out because, Tim, I know you got a team that you want to discuss, but I want to start it out with a realistic possibility, you know, for Giannis to be traded, to kind of lead you into this, right? The New York Knicks.
Right.
They are the team that is the mecca of, you know, basketball. While they may not be the superstar, it's where everybody wants to play. LeBron James,
bright lights,
bro. Everybody wants to play in New York, and it's been reported that that's his destination. So, talk to me a little bit. Is that a realistic possibility that he could be traded to the Knicks? What do you think?
I think it's a realistic, possibility. At the end of the day, Giannis told the Bucks brass in August at a media day, and I quote, "I want to be on a team that allows me and gives me a chance to win a championship." In other words, if you don't get your shit together, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. And that's exactly where Giannis is at this point in the season. He told them that he would use the first quarter of the season as an evaluation period to see where he is and where the team is, and if it makes sense for him to be here. Giannis, his family moved back to Greece. They missed the window with Dame. They messed up bad with Dame. Honestly, the spark that came to the city, and kind of propelled them to the idea that this could be a dream case scenario with Dame and Giannis being on the same team with other pieces that could do part to possibly win a championship, crumbled to hell. And that's where they are now. Over the last 3 years, Giannis on 60% shooting is 30, 10, and 5.
Beast.
Absolutely remarkable. And you haven't done shit with it. And to be honest with you, they've tied their hands behind their back. If I'm correct, in their 2026, their 2028, their 2029 first round picks, all have been gone, whether that's with the Pelicans or that's with the Trailblazers. So you don't have really any draft capital. As far as money goes, you're paying Damian Lillard $25.5 million over the next 5 years, and his ass is back in Portland. You're not doing yourself a really good job or a service to Giannis of giving him a blueprint of what is supposed to work or what he's supposed to look forward to in Milwaukee. I already don't know why anybody wants to play in Milwaukee besides a dollar bill. There isn't shit in Milwaukee. The only pieces that you have that are possible draft capital are they have one first round pick that they have as trade bait in either 2020 or in 2031 or 2032. They've exhausted all options. Then on top of that, you have Kyle Kuzma and Bobby Portis, who are possible trade bait, who are combined $37 million as a dollar tag. And then you have Miles Turner, who you weren't able to give an extension this past offseason, who's going to be looking for some money as well. You could use him as trade bait, but the Bucks don't really have a fucking say so in what goes down right now. Giannis told you at the beginning of the year, hey, this is where I would like to go. I want to go to the Big Apple. I like to go, while I'm healthy and still in my prime. I'm good. I'm a good trade asset to, you guys to try to get back some of what the hell you lost. Now, with this groin injury, with me on the court, we're 8-8, and with me off of the court, we're 1-5. We're not winning whether I'm here or not. You might as well just go ahead, rewrite the whole ship, and get back what you can. Have a yard sale. You already took out a loan. You really you don't have the money to try to pay off. It's looking bad, and I think New York is a great scenario. If I'm New York, I say this is what I already offered you in the offseason. Here's the trade offer again, and I might throw in Cat, which I would have traded yesterday, possibly. Cat's probably gonna go to his locker and be like, "Damn, where's all my stuff?" It's with you packed and your ass is headed to Milwaukee with a possible first round pick attached to that to try to help as like a good move of faith on New York's part. But that's really the place where I see Giannis saying, you know what, go ahead and make the move, because they have to go to Giannis with a no trade clause. Giannis, do you think this is a good idea? I mean, I already told you that. That's a spot, but anywhere else, you're going to have to run through me.
I don't think he's got a no trade clause. So, and that's why I think, to your point, the one thing
he doesn't have a no trade clause?
I don't think so, no. No, the only players that got it, I know Braun's got one,
right,
and a couple other players got one. But something I want to discuss at what you said, and this is where I'll bring up a couple different teams. We got our guy Drew Garrison in the chat. He said Giannis at Lakers. I'll discuss that in a second. But to the Knicks, in order to make this happen, the way that the money works is you got to give up Cat. You have to.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of Knicks fans saying, "Oh, I don't want to give up Cat." For Giannis, you got to do that. And I think that too many times people get caught up in this notion of, hey, if you want a star player, you got to pay to play. You got to pay to play. You got to pay to give it up.
There's a ransom for that.
And giving up Cat, because the way the money works is the Milwaukee Bucks, they have Giannis, but you probably got to give up Giannis and Kyle Kuzma, like you mentioned. So a package of Giannis and Kyle Kuzma, they probably don't give a crap about, for Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby. That's probably the best that you're going to get for the Knicks. And I don't think that's a bad offer, right? If I'm the Bucks and I'm saying, hey, I get Cat, OG Anunoby, and I get a first round pick, that leads you to where you trade away Giannis and you're not just rebuilding. You are instantly trying to go out there and contend. You have Cat, you have Miles Turner, you have two guards who I like, Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, and you got OG Anunoby. That's a solid enough core to say, hey, let's go out and make another big move in free agency to where, hey, we are not just rebuilding. So I agree with you. I think that that's a solid.
Yeah, well, also while using the little bit of cap space that you might have after making these decisions, I think at the end of the day, you put yourself in a chance to be competitive. I think you're still going to need a couple more pieces. OG is a good player. Cat can give you a smooth 15, 8, and 6. He might have a night where he goes up. But as of right now, what he's been doing is smooth 15, 8, and 6. But Cat, I think, given a bigger role and a bigger portion, not having Jalen Brunson on the ball or Josh Hart averaging 24 points, rebounds, and assists per night, I think giving him more volume of shares with the ball can create more opportunity for Cat. I think that's a good idea. Can he be a cornerstone piece? Sure, but it has to be proven. But you do have a piece in Giannis who is proven, and that's something that you can throw in the air to really one of the 4 or 5 teams who have been thrown out there as far as possible trade partners. So yeah.
Bro, completely. And it was kind of funny, or not funny, I should say, but it was ironic yesterday. Like, this whole trade stuff was happening, and Giannis pulled his calf.
Yeah.
And it was scary because everybody was out there tweeting as soon as he did it.
Yeah.
Achilles gone. He's done for the season. I was like, hold on, because I wasn't watching the game. And I was obviously thankful, knock on wood, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
just a calf strain. But two other teams, let me throw out here real quick before we head to the NFL.
Yeah.
I think that the Lakers are a possibility. And I know Malik's discussed this on the show. The only problem with that is it's got to be a 3-team trade. So if you're discussing Giannis to the Lakers, which I think is a real possibility,
Yeah.
you got to get rid of Braun. That's the only way the money works. So, in my opinion, with the no trade clause, I find it hard to believe that dude would want to go to Milwaukee. No shot, right? He ain't going to Milwaukee.
Especially where he's been. He's been the king of where he's been at. I think he wants to be able to be somewhere warm.
Bro, but that's why you go and you got a 3-team trade. I don't necessarily know who this would work out to, but
I was just going to ask you who would be the third team.
I think that Braun, the only teams I could really see him going to is like the Golden State Warriors, or going to the Mavs, maybe with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, or maybe Cleveland. But regardless, that is a move that I think that the Lakers should entertain, and they should try to figure out how to make it work, because pairing up Luka with Giannis, you would have to send Austin Reeves to Milwaukee. But, bro, it makes sense. That is the next pairing. Giannis is about to be 31 years old. That is the pairing for the next 4 years. Those two, I'm sorry, everybody in the West.
It's a goofy question that I have, but how much do you appreciate and respect Austin Reeves to send him to fucking
I'm sending him packing, bro.
Bro,
Listen,
look, I get it. But that combination of Luka and AR and what they've been able to do, and why the Lakers are, if I'm correct, they're 15-6 or 15-5. Yeah. That they're a huge reason as that. And I know what Giannis is, but do you fuck up team chemistry?
Oh, well, I do. And let me tell you why real quick.
Right.
I think that we are seeing a little bit of a false sense of who the Lakers are. We just saw LeBron James. I don't know if you saw, he was playing up against Phoenix. We'll get to our guy's question down below in a second, but
talking to the bench,
and JJ Redick was pissed off. And that's where I don't really believe in what the Lakers are good right now. I think that they're a solid team. I think Austin Reeves is good. I'm still concerned about him in the long term, because from their perspective, you're about to pay Austin Reeves this summer. You have to. He's going to make 40 to 45 a year. 45 big ones a year.
Has he earned it?
And he's earned it, but that's the question. Are you confident in him as your number 2? And that's the question. If you are, go out and pay him and build around them. LeBron's money's out, so you got more money to allocate. But that's what I'm concerned, bro. If I get the chance to make Giannis my 2 versus Austin Reeves my 2,
I get it.
I'm doing it. So
I get it.
I think that's a possibility. And then 2 more. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, he said Braun could come to Phoenix. I tried making the money work. It works, right? You could give up.
Aren't they handicapped by a certain trade?
They're handicapped, but they've got guys like Jalen Green. So their package would be Jalen Green. It would be their first round pick, the center from Kentucky. It would be Ryan Dunn, and it would be Grayson Allen. But they ain't got no first round picks. They gave all that up in the Kevin Durant trade, and the Bradley Beal's trade. So I don't really think that's realistic. One last one, let me throw it out to you, is I think the Atlanta Hawks are sneaky contenders for Giannis. And the reason why I say that is they have the most assets out of anybody in the league. And the reason why I say that again is they got 3 levels. They've got a superstar. They could trade in Trae Young. So they could go the route of hold on. They can go the route of, hey, Giannis, hey, Milwaukee, I'm going to give you guys Trae Young, who is a star point guard. I'm going to give you guys another player in the center, potentially like Kristaps Porzingis, and I'm going to give you the piece that is the most important right now, and that is the New Orleans Pelicans first round pick. The reason why that's important, that team is garbage. That is going to be a top 5 pick. And when you're the Bucks, you're asking yourself the question, what do I want in return for Giannis? Do I want a cat from the Knicks who will make me forced to be contenders right now, but I don't really know if he's a number 1? Or do I want a team in the Hawks that can give me solid role players if they don't go the Trae Young route of they can give me the former number 1 overall pick last year, Zachary Researcher, or they can give me the first round pick that the Pelicans have and Trae Young. So I think that there is a realistic option that the Atlanta Hawks are one of the best possibilities for Giannis. Because at the end of the day, the fact that he's got a no trade clause, if I'm Milwaukee, I don't give a damn where he wants to go to. And it depends on what the opposing team wants, because he obviously Giannis is gonna want to resign with that team he gets traded to. But I don't know. You got any thoughts on the Hawks real quick before we go to the NFL?
Yeah, so I do want to apologize. First of all, I need to have my facts straight. He does not have a no trade clause, but you were correct. So with that, it kind of breaks my mentality of the Hawks have their hands tied behind their back. The Hawks can do whatever they want. They can sit there and send out a trade for Giannis from the Bucks. But the Bucks really, do they owe something to Giannis to send him where he wants to go?
Morally,
I think they want to do that just because that's a good faith in what you've brought here. You did bring a title to the city. So we respect that, and we will forever respect that, because championships live forever. But in reality, the Bucks have to sit here and think about themselves as well. We need to be able to be okay 2-3 years from now. Yeah, we've done a lot of bad shit, but we can do some good by getting the most for Giannis. And the Hawks aren't a terrible idea. The only thing about that, you talked about the packaging Porzingis and Trey as well. Wouldn't Giannis be going to the same fucking situation he is inside of Milwaukee?
I think
what are you going to go pair up with in Atlanta if you're Giannis? If you do end up getting traded to Atlanta, what is going to be there?
Yeah, so I agree, and that's where I think it's a good situation, because they can do one of two things. I think that they could do the Trae Young thing, and I think that makes a lot of sense for the Milwaukee Bucks. But I agree, if you're the Atlanta Hawks, you're probably saying, nah, like, I want to keep Trae Young, and I still think that there's a real package. You can go and throw out Dyson Daniels. You can throw out the former first-round pick, Zachary. You can go throw out 𝗦𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧. There's a lot of guys on that roster you can throw out, and then that Pelicans pick is everything. So in that sense, you can go and say Trae Young, Giannis, Jalen Johnson, that's your core. So I agree with you. Maybe it's not Trae Young, but I think they got a lot of assets.
And I think with these teams, the first thing that I would do is sit there and tell the Bucks off rip, this is who the fuck I'm not trading. So you can go ahead and pick from anybody else on the roster, but these are the certain guys that I just know I can't part from. Given who Giannis is, you guys are kind of tied behind your back too. Giannis doesn't want to be there, and you guys want to get him off your hands. So why don't we just help you out? And whoever has the best package, I think, sits there and has a contender right away, because that's the type of impact that Giannis brings to a team. So
for sure. And we got a comment from our loyal supporter, Crypt Keeper, said, just saying LeBron James averaging 15.5 points. Just saying, never seen Michael Jordan average that. Michael Jordan never played as old as LeBron James.
Yeah, so we got to stop with this shit. I'm going to be completely honest. Jordan wasn't dunking on anybody. Jordan wasn't passing at the rate that LeBron is. Over the course of the last 3-4 years, LeBron is sitting here and playing some of the most efficient basketball of his career. He's adapted to the game. Jordan did what he could. I think he played for the love of the game the last couple of years he did with the Wizards. But LeBron is doing something that we won't ever see this shit again. I just want to let y'all know we need to stop hating and just appreciate what's happening right now. I know y'all just for the, I guess, the combativeness of just being a sports fan. You want to sit here and talk shit about Bron, but do y'all really understand what we're seeing? And I'm not just a huge Bron guy, even though my dad's from Akron. It's really more so the idea that LeBron is showing what longevity is. And we need to appreciate that while we have that, because I don't think we'll ever see another prototype like Bron ever again. So I appreciate that comment. It's funny, but be for real with yourself, man.
So let's switch it over to the NFL. As always, once again, if you guys are watching this, we appreciate you guys watching this. Do us a huge favor. Simply click the like and turn on post notifications. We've got live shows Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got content coming out every single day, and we appreciate you guys watching. But stay tuned. We've got a little segment we're excited for, Contenders versus the Pretenders, where we want you guys to participate as well. But let's talk about the Bengals versus Bills, right? We talked about this on State of the Jungle a bit, but let's dive into this game and really emphasize how big this game is for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team sitting at 4-8. This is a team that we were discussing before, this past couple of weeks, saying, hey, I hope they got a top 10 pick. And respectfully, I think there's even a conversation where I understand where some Bengals fans are coming from. They don't want to win because they want to get better for next season. But I hate to tell you, I think this season may not go how we wanted to go. And I think this team may go on a run right now. But at first, you got to take care of the Buffalo Bills. So, Tim, talk to me a little bit, right? Heading into Buffalo, facing a Buffalo team who has not looked fantastic. And we see this a lot in the NFL, right? We see a lot of the ebbs and flows. We see a team go blow out a divisional opponent and then come back to life. Or we see a team go out on primetime and win a big-time game and then come back to life. And could that be the case for the Buffalo Bills? The Buffalo Bills went and dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers in a cold game, a winter game. Could they come back down to life? Or is there even a saying where they're not even up there because they're not even winning their division right now? So, Tim, who do you think wins this game, and how important do you think that this game is for the Cincinnati Bengals' potential playoff hopes?
It's been playoff football for the last, I want to say, about 3 weeks. The slip up against the Patriots, I'll let them slide just because Joe didn't play. But what we've seen, even from that Patriots game and up until this point, is defense. Defense. We've seen just Joe Burrow start to click with, really a half of football where he finally got his feet up under him. That first half against the Baltimore Ravens was a little rough, but you saw glimpses. And then for Joe to come out the second half and do what he did was impressive. But I think the biggest thing for the Bengals this week is, one, starting out fast. I have a fun fact here, and that is the Bengals offense does have a knack for starting fast. Over the last 3 games, they've scored an opening touchdown. And I think that's big for team camaraderie and also for the idea of building an identity going into this game. That's on the offense side. But the defense over the last 2 weeks has 4 sacks and 6 takeaways, and only has given up 33 points combined in those 2 games, which is amazing. But I think the biggest thing out of all of it has been the ability to finish with pressures. That has been damn near what the Bengals and really Joe Burrow has been asking for over the last 3 years. Just give me the ball back a couple more times in a game and see what I can do with the shit. And that has been great. They have a 38.3% pressure rate on quarterbacks the last 3 games. That is amazing, given that there is no Trey Hendrickson on the field. There is no CTB who's holding up, who started to play really well the last couple games before he got injured. I will give him credit. Has he been shitball? Yes, but he has played some really good football before he got injured those last couple of weeks. I think what it really comes down to is, again, like I said, for the Patriots game, getting the opposing offense off the field on 3rd down and rush lanes, keeping Josh Allen at playing quarterback. They have a problem with their wide receiving core being able to create separation. And I think that's really showed, especially, I guess you could take the game tape against the Texans. If you want to find a way to have a kryptonite for Josh Allen, it's making him play quarterback, not having him be Superman. Making him extend plays and cutting off rush opportunities. And I think the Bengals come away winning this game 28-20. 28-20. And I think Joe Burrow has the ability to just keep the Bills offense off of the field. I think that's been a huge portion for why the Bengals have won, is just creating more opportunities for Joe to put the ball in the end zone, especially with last game. Showed me a lot. So I think those are some of the things. Also, one more thing. Time of possession. Yeah. Time of possession. If the Bengals win the time of possession game, I think they win this game. And I really think it's over before the 4th quarter. I'm going to be completely honest. Josh Allen is a hell of a quarterback. But as we've seen with a lot of quarterback situations in the NFL, you need people to create separation. You need people, and I know I keep, digging in on this topic, but when you don't have guys open or available, it makes Josh hold the ball and it makes him be kind of one-dimensional. You hit Josh Allen as much as fucking possible. He's already kind of banged up. After that Texans game, he needed 2 shots of whiskey. You feel me? And this is where we are with Josh Allen. Make him play quarterback, and I think you have a great chance of winning the game. Go ahead.
For sure, man. And there's a lot to talk about with this game. I think the one part, we discussed this a little bit yesterday, that is a big picture thing that should not be lost is the fact that, bro, like, this pisses me off. And I've got a feeling and a bad / good feeling that, bro, like, this team, if they go on a run, I just don't know how I feel about it. I want them to go on a run. And the reason why I'm pissed off is, bro, we were in the same spot last year.
It's the same shit and different day.
And that's what should give Bengals fans hope when you're watching this stretch of 5 games and you look at the games on the slate. Yes, you got the Bills here, and yes, you got the Ravens after that. The Bengals look good, man. They look good on Thursday night on prime time. They made Lamar Jackson look terrible. They made him look mediocre, and that's something where we saw this last year. The Bengals defense started to find their groove. They were, beating up on these poor quarterbacks. Who did the Bengals face the last 3 games of the season? Poor quarterbacks. So when we look at this stretch, I think that this game as well is going to be something that we expected to see on Thanksgiving. That is, we expect to see 2 aliens at quarterback. We expect to see Lamar and Joe Burrow. Tell me why only one of them showed up on Thanksgiving. And I think this is going to be a little bit different. I think Josh Allen's going to show up. And I think that's why this is on Al Golden, to really make life difficult and do what 𝗬𝗟𝗟𝗏 and this Bengals defense used to do to great quarterbacks. Do what they did to Patrick Mahomes. Do what they did to Josh Allen before. That is the game plan. Do what you just did to Lamar Jackson. So I think that this Bengals defense is in a good spot. They've got 2 lockdown corners. I think Dax is starting to get there. As a defensive coordinator, this should make you feel good. This should make you feel thankful, saying, hey, I ain't got to worry about that. That's not a mismatch. Keon Coleman, we're good. These guys at wide receiver, we are good. So you know what the Bills are going to attack. They're going to attack the tight end spot. If Dalton Kincaid is healthy, they're going to attack him. James Cook, that is going to be a focal point. The running backs in the passing game, that's going to be a focal point. And for the love of God, what I'm going to say,
I think you're about to say what I think you're about to say, because
probably not, or maybe.
Go ahead.
On 3rd downs, Josh Allen's legs that's it. I've seen this Bengals team get cooked so many times this year, and whether that's Barrett Carter, Demetrius Knight, these guys are rookies, and I understand I'm going to give them some time, but that is my biggest key to victory, is maintaining Josh Allen on these 3rd and longs, on these 2nd and longs, because that has been a kryptonite for the Bengals. Not just the tight ends, but it's been Jordan Love, the Packers game. The Bengals had a chance to kind of creep back into that game. 3rd down, rolling to the right. Barrett Carter, 1-on-1 in open field. Jordan Love just made a miss. And that can't happen against Josh Allen.
Patriots game as well. The 3rd and 12 from when the Patriots are on their own, I want to say 8-yard line. They convert that to Hunter Henry across the middle. And for the love of God, tight end, we have a problem with the Bengals have a problem with covering tight ends. For the love of God, do not let the Bills tight ends get going. That you need to eliminate the problems that you've had for the season. And also another thing, and this, I'm looking directly to the camera. Zach Taylor, please do not get cute. Run the fucking ball. Run the ball. Over the last 3 weeks, Chase Brown is averaging over 60 yards rushing a game, 70 yards rushing a game. And I think 2 of those games, he's had over 100 yards. Please run the ball. Set Joe Burrow up for the opportunity to have the entire playbook at his disposal. For you to have the playbook at your whole disposal. Do not make this predictable, especially going against a Bills team who's low-key desperate to just stay irrelevant right now. Yes, they came off a good win against Pittsburgh, where I think they rushed for almost 240 yards rushing against Pittsburgh. Holding the ball, winning time of possession, running the ball, and then winning the turnover, the turnover game, I think are the keys to the game. And then, like we said, I think it's kind of like telling is to just make Josh Allen play quarterback. Don't have him running around. Those are the 4 things that I think lead to a Bengals team winning the game. Now, is that easier said than done? Yes. Have we seen a whole lot more? I can't really look. I'm gonna be honest. This is a little bit of a hot take, but I can't really take shit from the Ravens game like I want to. I can't take it, as promising as I thought I could. Once I sat back and let my fandom calm down, Lamar been looking like shit for 5 weeks now. He's hurt. I'm gonna be honest. Even on some of the plays where he broke the pocket and scrambled. Look, as long as I've been watching Lamar Jackson, he's had the Bengals number for I don't know how long. When he got out of the pocket, I've rarely ever seen Lamar Jackson slide 5 yard with 5 yards of grass in front of him to possibly gain or to get out of bounds. He whether it's been, if I'm correct, it was his knee, then it was his ankle, then it was his hamstring. Lamar is not healthy. So with still a banged up Josh Allen, I think we need to take what the Texans did, which was I saw the Texans get home to Josh Allen with just 3-man pressures. And with a bunch of 8-gap blitzes. We don't have that luxury. But what we do have a luxury is, in what I've seen over the last 2 weeks, is being able to bring 6-man pressures and still being able to hold up on the back end.
Yep. And something to that point too is the Bengals passers, they've looked good. Joseph Size looked good. Miles Murphy, they've looked good. And that's the key, is keeping this dude contained. Because we saw even against the Steelers game, right, where the first game where Aaron Rodgers had about 25 seconds to throw, but he got outside the pocket. That's how, right? You overshot your gap. You took a wide edge and Aaron Rodgers slipped and went right around you. That can't happen with this dude that we call Josh Allen.
And another thing as well that I think has been prosperous, that's been something to hold tight to our hearts when we lay down at night, has been the idea that we've seen consistent flashes sideline to sideline of Miles Murphy. Joseph Ossai, talk about rush lanes again, being able to finish once he gets to the backfield. I think those two have gained the most out of anybody on this Bengals team. Offense or defense or special teams have been those two getting these valuable reps during the course of this essential playoff football that we've been playing for the last 3 weeks. Being able to sit here and play in down and distances where they can pin their ears back and create a bag for themselves. One guy that I look at and I would sell the farm for is Myles Garrett, but I also think that Joseph Ossai and Miles Murphy can do is look at his ability to create different ways to get to the quarterback. The whole Euro stepping through past George Kittle and Trent Williams, the ability to have a fake spin in your bag, just gaining more confidence and being able to sit here and have opportunities at sacks has been something that I've been most impressed with those guys over the course of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and they've gotten opportunities, and this will be a bigger discussion later on, right? Because they got Shamar Stewart, they got the question of Trey Henderson. What do they do? But real quick, Tevin said, "Ready for the draft to come? Season been over, bro." I disagree. And
season been over. Damn,
and listen,
right now.
And I listen.
Shit,
I agree with maybe the hope that you want a top 10 pick, and that could potentially lead to, if you're pissed off at Zach Taylor, that would likely lead to him being out. But I hate to tell you, newsflash, season ain't over. And I'm telling you, bro,
whether you like it or not,
we'll see what happens in these next couple games. But this stretch of 5 weeks has a chance to be like, in 4 weeks, us discussing a team potentially making the playoffs. And come week 16, week 17, I don't think we're discussing the draft yet. Because I think we're going to be discussing the same thing we saw last year. What are the scenarios? How do they get in? Steelers have to lose here. Ravens have to lose here. I think that's what's going to happen. Because if the Bengals go out and beat the Bills, you got, no matter what, a Steelers versus Ravens game this week.
Smoking coming into Monday.
So this is going to be a very big stretch of games. So I don't think that the season is over. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 said, "Hey, don't sleep on Cedric. Dude's been helping both those guys because of his pressure." I completely agree.
Yes.
Cedric's been a beast. And
shout out to Ced,
and he said, "Ced, man."
Shout out to him.
While he has maybe not gotten all the pressure, the end of the day, dude has been in the right place at the right time. 2 fumble recoveries. That is that's big. So
and he played well last year. And look, I understand the whole, philosophy behind, basically the mind fucking that we're doing right now about the Bengals and wanting the season to low-key kind of be over. We just don't want to be in the same position that we were in last year. And I said this a couple of shows ago, that we are in the same boat that we were last year. And I think that's why. And I would hate for 2 things to happen. One, we end up getting a late teens pick and we possibly miss the playoffs because we're hoping that certain scenarios, like you said, pop into action where we're looking at ourselves now in December. Are we rooting for the Ravens to possibly win or lose? Are we hoping that the Steelers help us out? Those type of things make me kind of throw up at night. But at the same time, that's one scenario. Number 2, that Joe Burrow saves Zach Taylor's job once again, where we kind of like all is forgiven. Let's say we do make the playoffs and, we go on a little bit of a run and we kind of credit to, we were just missing Joe. And that's what kind of, set us apart from wins and losses. There's no excuse for you to lose to the fucking Jets. I'm going to be honest. And the Bears. I'm going to be honest. And if you coach properly, because if I'm correct, the offense only accounted for 7 points against the Patriots, because then we have a kickoff return for a touchdown and the pick 6 from Geno Stone.
Yep.
That game, you didn't coach your ass off when you were supposed to. That was a playoff game too. That'll put us in a different scenario as well when talking about the AFC playoff picture or possibly where we could be at. So I don't want this to get to a point where we're like all is forgiven and Zach saves his ass.
And I agree. And that's what we've got the show for, right? That's what Malik always preaches. And even for State of the Jungle, that's our job, right? Our job is to show the whole landscape of things. And that's why a conclusion that I've had talking with the Bengals and talking to you and Malik and Logan and everybody is I am rooting for this Bengals team to win. And my gut tells me that they're going to go on a run. I think that this team, when I watched them against the Baltimore Ravens with Joe Burrow, I think they've got it. And I saw this last year. We saw this last year against the Dallas Cowboys. They beat the Dallas Cowboys primetime, the whole donut thing, and they went on a run undefeated to end the season. So I think they end up going on a run. And for us, it is going to be our job to keep maintaining the fact that, hey, Zach Taylor, while they've looked good under him, and at the end of the seasons, he has been a good coach with Joe Burrow. We cannot forget what happened early on in the season. So,
and every other season for the last 3 years.
And that is what we are going to continue to harp on. But let's see how these games shake out, because at the end of the day, for me, and I'm sure you share the same belief, if that team made the playoffs last year, I ain't scared of nobody. If this team makes the playoffs this year,
I ain't scared of nobody.
It's wide open.
Facts.
So listen, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We've got a lot to discuss. We're going to do contenders versus pretenders in a second. We're going to talk about some of those teams that maybe the Bengals should be scared for. But 2 teams I want to discuss really quickly is the Cleveland Browns, and then we'll go to the Chicago Bears. But the Cleveland Browns, real quick, they're all over the news, right? And you got Browns fans about Shedeur Sanders. Listen, I rock with the wrist, man. I rock with the wrist up, but he looked fine. He looked okay. So you got Deshaun Watson potentially coming back. They've got 2 first-round picks. There's a lot that the Cleveland Browns can do. Where do you think that they should go at quarterback? Because Browns fans are looking for hope. They're looking for something to hang their hat on. Is it Shedeur? Is it Deshaun Watson? Is it a draft pick? What is your bet that the Browns should do at quarterback? Where do you think they go from here?
I think that the Browns it's tough because while you want to evaluate your quarterback situation, what you have in the building, you didn't do yourself a service at the beginning of the year. What the hell was Kenny Pickett doing in the building? The whole trading for him for a 5th-round pick just to let his ass go after he had a ailment of hamstring injuries. He was taking reps away from the guys who are now currently playing in December in Shedeur, and also he took reps away from Dillon Gabriel as well. He was taking first-team reps that just to trade him away for the same 5th-round pick to the Raiders. That made no sense. Then you had Joe Flacco here for all of, I want to say, 3 weeks playing football before you sent him packing to to the Bengals, and you got whatever you got for as far as draft capital for that. That took reps away from guys who you knew you were going to need to look at. You should have took this year as looking at, the molecular things, the smaller things, the things that really matter, because it's not going to be dedicated on wins and losses this year for the Browns. What it's more about is, okay, one, we have a top 5 defense. We can hang our hat on that. Number 2, can we have competent quarterback play? Is there somebody in the building that can move the ball, at a pace where we don't have our defense on the field for 12 to 15 times a game? That's not a formula to winning. And one thing that I've liked about Shedeur is, even with the minimal reps during the offseason, look, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a Shedeur fanboy or whatever you guys like to call it, but what I am is a realist. If I don't have enough time to prepare for something, I'm not going to be my best. With this show, if I don't have time to sit here and go over statistics and be able to make it sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about to you guys aren't going to believe me. Same thing with Shedeur. If you don't see it enough, you won't know when to pull the trigger, or if you're confident enough to pull the trigger. And I think one thing that he said during this week is that the game is slowing down for him a little bit. Well, with a couple of starts under your belt, one against indoors against a Raiders team who is just ass, and then to then turn around and go play in 50-mile-per-hour winds in Cleveland, which isn't really an excuse, because this is what you're going to deal with being a quarterback in the AFC North, is the elements. So, but I will say, as for your second start, to deal with those conditions and still be able to not turn the ball over. Did you take a sack or two that didn't make sense? Yes, but then I look at things in a bigger grand scheme of things, is that you got a number 1 receiver, or supposed to be a number 1 receiver, sitting there and skipping and frolicking in the middle of catching the ball just the week prior, but then getting pissed at you because you missed the ball in conditions that aren't really favoring, and you're not throwing the ball consistently. Then you turn around. There's other guys on the team who aren't creating separation. 𝗬𝗟𝗏𝗏, bravo to you for being a bright spot and a safety blanket. David Njoku, I think you've been a great guy. You could possibly be a trade piece coming up this offseason. Outside of that, 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I don't know who the hell else is out there to help Shedeur, create separation. They have the same problem that the Bills have. A separation issue at wide receiver, and really nobody. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, undrafted rookie out of South Carolina, who gave. All right, moving forward. Now, with that being said, Dillon Gabriel isn't the answer, because he doesn't have what it takes to be AFC North quarterback. I'm going to be completely honest. I think you might have a small spark, at least from putting butts in the seats and also on the field showing flashes in Shedeur. I wouldn't go quarterback this offseason. What I would do is, number 1, the offensive line is bang the hell up.
Yep.
I would go either right tackle or right guard with one of those first-round picks. And then my second one would be having a game changer at wide receiver, somebody who only knows what he knows. Jerry Jeudy, could he be a number 2 receiver? Sure, just not the hell here. Not in Cleveland. I think Jerry Jeudy could go somewhere else where a change of scenery might be sparking for him. But I think a Jeremiah Smith being looked at with one of those first-round picks would be really good. And having somebody out there that can grow with Shedeur, and you see what you have next year, because if Shedeur isn't the answer, you're going to lose a bunch of fucking games next year anyway. You're probably going to have a number 1 pick again. So then you could look at quarterback, and I don't think this year is necessarily strong as far as quarterback. There's nobody who's just blowing people out the water as far as stats go. Mendoza is a good quarterback. I will say that. This is college football, and we've seen guys not pan out. And even the guys who did put up gaudy type of numbers struggle in their first year. And if you really want a game changer like that, you're going to have the same problem if you end up taking a quarterback in the top 10 again that you have this year. He's going to have a problem not having wide receivers being able to get open. He's going to have offensive line that's banged the hell up, because you did waste those first round picks, not waste them, but gave them up to try to get a guy who you thought would be a difference changer. You have a defense, like I said. So I don't think quarterback is the answer as far as in the draft. I think they could do something with 𝗬𝗏 and just give him more time. You don't have a strong enough sample size. Honestly, that's just where I look at it.
No, I agree. And I think there's a lot of different aspects. We have 𝗦𝗫𝗂𝗏 in the comment section said Flacco started 4 games for the Browns. Yes, 𝗦𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗧 and the Bengals, but nobody said, or Boogie said, they never should have let Baker Mayfield go. I agree. But the fact of the matter is, in Cleveland, it just wasn't a good situation for any of these quarterbacks.
It hasn't
and none of them have succeeded. And at some point, you got to look at the organization. So for me, where I fall on this is I think 𝗬𝗏 deserves a chance this season. And I think we're going to get to see what 𝗬𝗏 can be, right? And if I'm in the organization, because a lot of times that's what I try to do, is put myself in the shoes of the organization. The biggest positive that I like with 𝗬𝗏, and I think buys him more time than any other 5th-round pick in NFL history at the quarterback position, is the fact that he's got this. The fact that he's got the fan base. You hear the fan base roaring. You see outside of the stadium people selling 𝗬𝗏 Sanders jerseys. They're selling 𝗬𝗏 Sanders cookies in the stadium. This dude leading into this season,
Hungry Dogs,
was the number 5 overall best-selling jersey in the entire NFL. And we are talking about a 5th-round pick. So while that has nothing to do with the on-field performance, the ownership has a lot of influence in NFL games and in NFL teams. And that's where I would give 𝗬𝗏 more grace, and he is going to get more leeway because he's got the fan base, because that is dollar signs for the ownership. And that's the best way to put it. So I think he's going to get a chance. He's facing the Tennessee Titans this week. And I hate to say it, but I think they win. So that's 2 wins in his first 3 starts. I think that buys him more leeway.
And I'll say this. I don't give a damn what anyone says. The first round picks that are playing this year, 𝗬𝗏 looks like he fits right in with the rest of them. I'm going to be honest with you. Cam Ward isn't doing anything spectacular as far as from what the numbers say. But one thing I can say about Cam Ward is he's not afraid to pull the trigger. Number one, he's made some excellent throws that show you he can be a franchise guy. You have to watch the games in order. We just can't look at numbers. And one thing that I'll say about this game coming up, there was a lot of already talk, and you guys can't be oblivious to it. The conversation was Cam Ward versus 𝗬𝗏 Sanders, where they would fall earlier this year.
And now they play each other. And what happens if he wins?
Sanders outplays Cam Ward. I'm banging the fucking table because I'm being honest. If he outplays Cam Ward, y'all can't excuse why he fell to the 5th round, and don't say it's because he's a 5th-round talent. I know, you know, your mom knows, your aunt who made the macaroni and cheese for Thanksgiving knows that 𝗬𝗏 Sanders isn't a 5th-round talent. But what he can prove is that I belong. He needs to have a game where it's like, that's our guy. And this could be it. This could be it, where it's just overwhelming looking for Cam Ward and it looks bad. You can capitalize on your defense playing the way that they're playing. Now you come out here and you let the ball go. They're in Cleveland, right?
I believe so.
I don't know what the elements are, but forget all that. I didn't drop an F-bomb there. Forget all of that. Kevin Stefanski, take the training wheels off. For God's sakes, take the training wheels off and let 𝗬𝗏 Sanders throw the ball 30 times like you did Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel threw the ball 52 times, if I'm correct, in a game this year. I don't know what the fuck that was about, but I don't know if you planned on winning that game. But if you're down, even if you're not down, let 𝗬𝗏 throw the ball and see what you have. You don't know what you have if you keep sitting here holding your kid's hand while he's trying to learn to walk, or letting her learn to walk. You have to let them stand up on their own and see what they're able to deal with, what he can get away with. In this week, you can see a lot. 3rd start, 3rd consecutive week with the first team, getting his reps. I don't want to hear any of that shit from anybody else about, oh, he hasn't gotten the reps that he was supposed to. I get that. But you talk about perfect timing. Throw your damn wrist up. This it.
This
is it. You finally got a chance to have your own pad. They got Dillon Gabriel, Bailey Zappi, and Deshaun Watson on one end of the field, splitting reps while they got you down there. And I'm talking to you, Shedeur. While they got you down there, taking all first team reps by yourself, getting as much time as you need to feel as comfortable as possible to come out here and perform to a certain level, to the level that you've set as far as a standard that you know that you're capable of playing at. This is it. And again, the whole conversation was about what the hell are the Browns doing as far as quarterback. You can nip all that shit in the bud this week, and you can move forward and go towards the idea of being the franchise guy, because he does, like you said, Dan. He has the fandom behind him. Now the production needs to start to creep up and meet. He throws 2 touchdowns this week, no interceptions. If he takes 1 sack, I'm fine with that. There's guys who take sacks all the time, but they can't be sacks where you had an opportunity to put points on the board. You have to show growth in the areas that have been plaguing you for the last 4 months that people have been talking about you. Just show growth of being able to be the guy, and I think you'll be completely fine.
Completely, bro. And I think, and we had DN Street. We appreciate you always tuning in, man. He said Shedeur Sanders 149, 1 touchdown, and 16 of 25 against the 49ers. That's fine. And listen, Shedeur didn't look great. The point that I'm going to take away, and I think you guys should take away, is this game has huge ramifications. If he looks good in a win against Cam Ward, that is going to buy him grace. That is going to buy him leeway. That is probably going to buy him to the end of the season.
Yeah.
So this is the type of game that could make the conversations in the offseason. We should keep Shedeur, or another team says that's the type of guy I want. But I agree with you. This is the perfect time for Shedeur. Let's see if he shows up.
And also, real quick, I don't know what the idea or what the game plan, again, talking about the Browns quarterback situation, what your plan is opening up the 21-day window for Deshaun Watson. I don't know what the hell that's about. I don't know if you plan on getting him in there last 2 games. You know what you have in Deshaun. Deshaun can go somewhere else. I know you invested a lot of money. That's a lot of time, a lot of resources. I get it. And maybe that's why you're opening up the window to see if that investment pays off and gives back and you break even. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Your girlfriend cheated on you twice. Broke your heart, and then you decide to still let her come back in the crib and chill. Dog, the 2 Achilles tears should have been enough for you to be like, oh, this is the perfect time to break up.
Whoa,
it's the perfect time.
I agree, and I think what you just said, that 2 times your girlfriend cheats on you. What if you spent your past 2 years paycheck on that girl?
Bro, I'll go get that money back later. Look, you need to be by yourself and grind.
But you already allocated next year's paycheck to her. That your next year's paycheck, Tim, is gone. Next year, you said, "Hey, listen," you said it because they owe him, her, $80 million next year. So next year paycheck, bye.
I have to care about me. I got to take that L on the chin. I have to take the fact that she slept with the guy on the chin and say, you know what, my new girlfriend is low key popular as hell. So you know what? Let me ride off into the sunset with her and see if I have something. If not, I'm just going to have to go back to the drawing board, work on myself, get in the gym, and figure out what works best for me moving forward. Am I wrong, fellas? Have we not all had that moment where it's like, I need to focus on me? The Browns are at that point. They have a little glimpse where they're like, you know what? I'm going to jump in the dating pool one more time. Let me see what I have. And if it's not working, I'm going to just go back and do what I know is best, which is work on me. And that's what the Browns need to do. I get it. It's what? How much do they owe him next year?
Yeah, I believe it's 80. It's 80 million, 80.7.
She can stay around for a little bit, but look, you got to show me something. You got to show me that you're worth it. Do I keep you to next year?
You got it.
I don't know. I don't know. Is he worth trading? Is there anybody who would take him?
Nothing.
Not at an $80 million cap hit.
Yeah,
your ass can play in the CFL at this point.
And there's nothing you can do because if you release him, you owe him more money. So listen, we appreciate everybody tuning in. We got a lot to discuss, and we've discussed a lot. If you guys can click the like, turn on post notifications. It's time for Contenders versus Pretenders. If you guys are watching this, you guys can tune in with us. We are going to throw out a team, state contenders or pretenders, discuss them for a bit and move on. I want to start with Chicago Bears. This is a team that is first in the NFC North. This is the team that has a new head coach. They've got the Moxie, Ben Johnson, taking off his shirt post-game. They've got everything going on. They're ahead of the juggernaut Detroit Lions. They're ahead of the juggernaut Green Bay Packers. They're ahead of a lot of these other teams in the NFC. So that begs the question, contenders versus pretenders. I can start off, Tim. This is a contender, undoubtedly. This is undoubtedly a contender, but we also got to hold our horses a little bit because this team is not better than the Los Angeles Rams. This team is not better than some of these other teams. And where I will make the case that they are contenders is because of Ben Johnson. They are making Caleb Williams do the least amount of work. You see the way that their running game has looked. Kyle Monangai, DeAndre Swift. This is how you win games in the postseason. And when I discuss contenders, I think of a team that I realistically can see winning at least one playoff game. And damn right, I can see this team winning one playoff game. I can see a world where they get home field advantage. They run the hell out of the ball. And Caleb Williams makes some plays happen. So while Caleb Williams has not been fantastic, and I do think, and I agree with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 said one and done, I think there's a chance that they, win a game. And at that point, though, you're in the divisional round. That you are a contender if you make the divisional round. That is point blank period. You are in the dance. So I think that there is still some false sense of reality with this team. I think Caleb Williams has not looked excellent. He's not looked up to par with Drake May. He's not looked up to par with Matthew Stafford, with these other great quarterbacks. But that's why you got Ben Johnson. And I think that this rushing attack has looked great. And if you want a quote-unquote mediocre quarterback, that's what some people are calling Caleb Williams. If you want them to succeed in the playoffs, look at what the Tennessee Titans did with Ryan Tannehill, right? They had Derrick Henry. They had a great run game. They had a much better defense than the Chicago Bears, but the Bears got some weapons. They got DJ Moore. They got Rome Odunze. They got Colson Loveland. They got some guys at their weapons. So I don't believe in them as a Super Bowl contender, but damn right, this team can win one playoff game at least. Contender, pretender for you.
I'll say contender with an asterisk. The reason why there's an asterisk next to there is because these are kids essentially on this Chicago Bears team. They haven't had or been a #1 seed since 2006. I don't know if you remember what the hell you were doing in 2006. I really don't either. And that's the point that I'm making, is that they're unfamiliar to this. But that might be dangerous to some degree come playoff time. If the playoffs somehow run through Chicago, I think the Bears are contenders. Why? Because one thing that they do well, there's a couple things that they do well. One is that they run the ball, which also comes with resetting the line of scrimmage. That's on the offensive side. They spent a lot of money this offseason in Joe Thuney, and a couple other guys who have made strides and been foundational pieces for us to why the Bears are where they're at. Number two is the run game. That also goes to setting the line of scrimmage as well. They're physical, and that works really well with playing winter football in Chicago. I think that works really well. Number three, their defense needs to get way more credit for what's happening. They're #1 in the league in takeaways, if I'm correct. Prove me wrong or tell me that I'm wrong. But they have been able to sit here and put teams in down and distance. What I saw against the not against Dallas, but against the Philadelphia Eagles was the ability to get them off the field on third down, I'll say, but also to make quarterbacks play quarterback. And that proved a lot to me as far as the mentality that the Chicago Bears have as far as being in a, to be honest, wide open NFC playoff picture. Is this set in stone that they'll be the #1 seed? Hell no, because the Rams still have something to say about it. I still think that there's the Seahawks still have something to say about it. There's a lot of teams who are going to be jockeying for that, and it's going to come down to the last week of the season, and also possible scenarios about what the number 1 seed is going to be and who is it for. But the mentality that Ben Johnson has brought to this team is refreshing. It's new. It's young. It's innovative. And Caleb Williams has done something that I've been begging for since the beginning of the year, and Dan Orlovsky talked about it too. Minimizing the situations for mistakes. Yes, they've asked him to not do as much, but one thing that Caleb Williams has done is still played in his element outside of the pocket. He's also been able to go through his reads a lot quicker. And I think the play action game has helped a large part in why Caleb Williams is as efficient as he's been this year. He's still been able to play his game, which is kind of backyard style, but he has also showed the improvement of coming off of his play action and being able to look at his first target, not there, going to his second, getting the ball out of his hands. He's been able to play in the structure of the system. And that's helped a whole lot as to why the Bears are where they're at. DeAndre Swift is going to get a contract extension because he's playing, and they found a diamond in the rough in Monangai. You have done what you have done what you've been asked to do and more as the Chicago Bears this year. I don't think it's a failure if they end up only winning one playoff game. I think they will because they're expecting more. But what we expected from the Bears was just growth.
Yep.
And this is beyond expectation. So go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, and just to close out the Bears, it's a lot of times in the NFL, especially this year, for everybody who's watching, I think there's going to be a weird team that makes it. I really do. I think there's a lot of weird teams that aren't, necessarily talked about with the upper echelon teams, but I feel like this is going to be one of those years. And just to be Henry's point, he's not a fan of this Bears team. It seems like he thinks they're contenders. To your point, the scariest part is they are winning close games. 6 of the past 9 wins this season are by 1 score. 2 of those were by 1 point. Saw the Cincinnati Bengals game. That was a close game. They are winning these close games, but that's also kind of concerning because who's to say in the playoffs those games go your way? So I agree with you. We've got to see what happens. The biggest bright spot for the team has been Ben Johnson and this rushing game and his ability to have complementary football. Shout out to Chicago Bears. Let's keep it in the NFC really quickly. You discussed 2 teams I want to discuss really briefly, but the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, right? This is the division in the NFC West where it's typically ran by the San Francisco 49ers, but those are the 2 teams in the lead right now. So are you a fan of the Los Angeles Rams being contenders or pretenders? And are you a fan of the Seattle Seahawks being contenders or pretenders? Let's start with the Rams real quick. Contenders, pretenders for you for the Rams.
For the Rams, contenders. Why? I think they just slipped up and they got their asses whooped against Carolina. I think Carolina, they've been great at home this year, and they've covered the spread over 60% of the time this year. So Carolina has been a tough outing, and they just keep pounding. And Bryce Young has looked like glimpses of a first-round pick or a number 1 overall pick of what they, decided to choose and go with. And I think them having faith in him has been really big. But going to the Rams, one thing that they're able to do is run the ball, create time possession, and Matthew Stafford can still throw the fucking pigskin. He can throw the skin off the football still. Devontae Adams, if I'm correct, he has 14 touchdowns on the year. Puka is still making plays and doing what he has to do as far as in yak, and the pass rush for the Rams is still efficient as hell as well. I think they'll be just fine. Especially like I said, going back to with the old Bears conversation, that NFC is still wide open. Now that's why I think the Rams will be just fine. They have a head coach who knows how to get them back on track. He knows what their strengths and weaknesses are, and he is a film junkie. So I think they'll be just fine. The Seahawks. Shit, man. Yo, Sam, you gonna step the hell up this year? I mean, what we saw with Minnesota, last year, it all looked good, but not everything that glitters is gold. You feel me? Not everything that shines is worth of value. And Sam was at the in the conversation for MVP at the beginning of the year, which was very telling to how efficient he was. He's been really calculated in a lot of games. Their defense is going to be their caveat, I think, this year. Jackson Smith and Jigba is on pace and in conversation for offensive player of the year, which I love. And they have their number one receiver. He can play inside, he can play out. I think that is a really mismatched nightmare for opposing defenses going into the playoffs. But it really comes back to Sam Darnold. How much do you put on his plate? And I know you paid him money, but does he equal to wins in the postseason? I think that's the only question that you have. Is he a postseason player? We sit around, we might crack open a beer, and it's like, is he a guy? Is he a guy? I don't know if he's a guy, but he has played like the guy before, and we've seen it, but we've also seen him crumble to fucking shreds when it comes to playoff time. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a pretender. I'm going to call it a pretender.
Yeah, man.
The defense is it has to carry them, I think, a large portion. But if he can give that defense 21 points a game and create some type of, ability to hold on to the ball and create, wins with time of possession, I think it bodes well for Seattle. I think they're a good team, and especially if you're coming through past the 12s.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. They're my team, dog.
They're your team?
They're my team this year.
Okay. I'm not saying they can't be. I'm not saying they can't be.
In the NFC, and we're going to keep discussing some other teams, but I'm bought in. I'm fully bought in. And listen, the biggest concern is Sam Darnold. It's the interceptions. Yeah. And it's fair to question, right? But I point to, if you are looking for hope for Seahawks fans, I point to that run with Matthew Stafford and the Rams, and I point to how Stafford was a gunslinging quarterback. That dude in the regular season, I believe, was second or third in most interceptions. Heading into that postseason, the conversation was, this dude is going to turn the ball over. And then somehow, some way, he faced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against Tom Brady. And he faced, I believe it was the Green Bay Packers. And he turned the ball over once, but their offense looked good. And the thing is, this defense is phenomenal. This defense is phenomenal. We're talking
on my fantasy team, like, for sure.
Absurd. Yeah. If you want to know how to build a defense, this is how you do it. Shout out to Mike McDonald. He's done a fantastic job. You've got a first-round pick, Byron Murphy, who's been a stud. You got Leonard Williams, who they traded for a couple years ago, has been a stud. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, a free agent acquisition, has been a stud. You've got their linebackers who have played great. You got the corners who have played great. You got their safeties, Julian Love. These guys are underrated. This team is legit. And while they may not have beaten the greatest teams, every one of their losses has been by one score. The Buccaneers game, I believe, was a 3-point loss in a shootout. The Rams game was a 2-point loss where Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions. So,
and you still only lost by one score.
There is concern about the Seahawks team, but I would be very pissed at myself if I didn't discuss the positives with this team, because there is not a team in the NFC right now that I think has a clear-cut, path to beating the Seahawks team and dominating them. I think the Rams, that's a divisional matchup, Seahawks can take them. I think the Eagles, who we're about to discuss, is a team that's stuck in the water. So I want to move over real quick to finish off in the NFC. The Eagles and the Cowboys. These are two teams that are all over the place. Eagles just lost on prime time against the Chicago Bears, and you got the flip side, the Cowboys. They got some momentum. I believe they play today as well. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, a defense that is looking good with Quinnen Williams. Talk to me about the NFC East. Eagles, Cowboys, who do you buy? Who do you not buy? Contenders for pretenders for those two teams.
I could give a damn less about the Eagles. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a bunch of divas over there. And I might sound real judgmental right now, but I think this is what we do this for. The problem with the Eagles is their offense stayed behind 2 years ago. I think they line up and they think that teams are just going to be scared of them just because they're from Philadelphia and that they've been bullies and rightfully so. I would think the same way too. If I line up and my offensive line is averaging 320 pounds, and we have a run game with both our quarterback and running back, but that's just not been the case this year. You're inefficient with throwing the football. When your running back, who you paid, I forget how much it is per year to, and Saquon Barkley hasn't lived up to the contract that you just gave him, and then AJ Brown's wanting the ball, but it's not leading to wins. Yes, he broke off for 100 plus and 2 touchdowns just this past week, but the defense isn't the same either. They weren't able to stop anybody on third down, and they have trouble covering tight ends as well. And that showed in the Bears game. One thing that the Bears game showed was that the Eagles can be the Eagles can be pushed around too. And I think they have to look themselves in the mirror and have a confidence booster and possibly have a players only meeting as well, where they're like, what is the issue behind us? And I think why they might be pretenders. I mean, if they get into the dance, I think the Eagles, as far as anyone else, if they get hot, can be that team. But they have a lot of questions rather than answers. So I'll say pretenders for the Eagles, and that's just not off of recency bias. I think that's over the course of really the season. Even when they won, it didn't look necessarily pretty.
And let me say one thing on the Eagles too. This reminds me a lot of the year after they went to the Super Bowl, and that was a year where the entire season, it was like they started off hot. I believe it was undefeated at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Then they tailed off near the end, and there were serious questions. It was saying, man, Eagles fans were trying to talk themselves in and saying, well, we just went to the Super Bowl. We've got the weapons. We know we can do it. Just because we've been losing these games, we're going to turn up in the playoffs. I think this could be the same thing. And you look at this team where they've got all the talent in the world, but we saw they went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They were not on a hot streak, and they got dogged by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got dogged. And I think that this could be a case of the same thing, because there's a lot of great teams in this NFC. We discussed the Rams, the Seahawks, and Tim, the Cowboys. I know we got somebody in the chat said, what they said if Cowboys defense keeps playing better, they will be a problem.
Yes, and Cowboys. You know what? We're on the same page, bub. We're on the same page. The Cowboys are walking into people's crib, moving shit off their table and saying, hey, where do I set my stuff? I think right now where the Cowboys are, the addition of Quinnen Williams has made certain teams one-dimensional. I'm gonna be completely honest, and also his pass rush ability has added an element to the Cowboys defense that has been that's been lacking. To be quite honest, since that man who's in Green Bay right now, I know they don't even want to say his name, but Michael Parsons is playing out of his mind right now, and now having Quinnen Williams and also Logan Wilson hasn't been a bad addition to that defense. And one thing that plagued the Cowboys early in the year, also talking about the defense, was injuries. The injury bug bit them bad, but with them having guys come back healthy at a pivotal point in the year, they have some winnable games. Yeah. I thought the Chiefs game wasn't winnable, to be quite honest. I didn't think they would win the game. I thought it would be close, but I didn't think they would win the game. But they found a way. George Pickens and CD both having 1A, 1B games. You could pick your poison with them. Yep. Between this game and last game, the Eagles game and the Chiefs game, both of them ended up being number one receivers respectively in each of those games. Now you pick your poison with that. I think it bodes well for where you could look at the Cowboys and Dak playing at an MVP level. Don't call me crazy, but if you look at it right now, what are their next 3 games?
So they got Detroit today.
Okay. Yeah, this would be huge tonight, and this will show the physicality of the Dallas Cowboys tonight, with Amon-Ra possibly being out, and J-Mo being the number 1 target, and also, if I'm correct, Sam Laporta isn't playing tonight either. That'll show a lot. But who else do they have next?
They got the Minnesota Vikings next.
Okay,
and then
defense.
They got the Los Angeles Chargers.
And Justin Herbert is banged up, coming off of the left-hand surgery that he just had, which hopefully he gets better as well, because I think they have a promising future. I think they're contenders. It's going to be tough for them to get into the playoffs, with where they're at. But if anybody can get hot, and especially with the offense doing what they're doing, and Javonte Williams doesn't get enough credit as well for how efficient he's been this year. Being a pickup, wasn't really too much expected out of him coming into this season, but he's been more than just a bright spot with creating some type of consistency in the run game. I think the Cowboys can legit run the table and win some games this year. Is it possible for them to win the division for the for
it's a possibility. It's a possibility, and maybe that's where it lies, because
Yeah.
if we're discussing wild card, it's probably not happening. I mean, you listen, the Cowboys, I agree with you. This is a team that they look good. You got Dak Prescott. 2-star wide receivers does not go unnoticed. That is crucial, and that is huge against opposing defenses.
I feel like you got a butt behind this.
It's will they get in? And right now it's up to the Eagles, because the Eagles are, I believe, 2 games ahead of them. They have 2 divisional games. So you got the Commanders and you got the Giants. You're going to need help because the Eagles are 8-4. So
Who do they play?
The Eagles play the Chargers. Then you got the Raiders and Commanders, the Bills and the Commanders. I don't know. It's
the Bills
tough.
and Chargers games are going to be tough for the Eagles, but
it's tough. And
if they were to get in, I think they would be contenders. Yeah. But like Daniel said, you got to get your foot in the door. Yeah. You got to get asked to the dance first. And the only way you can do that is honestly to win out, honestly. Yeah. And I don't know if that's
if you win tonight, it's a start.
Hey, look, and that's 2 weeks of winning games where I don't think, and I'm not even going to say tonight, they wouldn't be able to win this game tonight, because the way that they're playing, and like our man in the comments said, if that defense is able to hold this Detroit team to 20 points, the Cowboys are good for putting up about 28. Mm-hmm. I think they could win, because the Detroit defense isn't just they're not Cleveland. They're not, Minnesota's defense. No, you're not going to be built with that task. You're going to have an opportunity to go in and win tonight. So, yeah, it starts with tonight.
For honestly. Sure. So, once again, we appreciate everybody watching the chat. Do us a huge favor. Click the like. And for these next couple teams, drop down if you think they're contenders or pretenders. Just got a couple more real quick.
We'll move through it quickly.
New England Patriots, contenders or pretenders?
Shit, they beat some good teams. Now, will I say that the rest of their schedule looks like a Sunbelt conference? Yeah, I think that shit is terrible. But I mean, those are confidence builders, if anything, to go rolling into the playoffs and being able to, say you're gonna have to stop us. Drake May at the end of this year will possibly be saying MVP. I don't see why not.
The only other guy I think is Stafford.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Drake May hasn't had a reason to not be at number 1 for that. Their defense, they are a prime example of spending money and getting, your cut back right away. Them spending that amount of money on the defense in the offseason has paid dividends drastically, and it's a huge reason as to why they sit where they are right now. I think they are contenders. I wouldn't look too much into, being battle tested the next, 5 weeks of the season. I think with them, still having an opportunity. Where are they at as far as the AFC playoff picture? Are they
number 1?
They're number 1. Shit, everything running through New England. Shit, there's no place like home. That's the way I look at it. So, especially with this schedule that's coming up, it's just so crazy that we're in December. It's the gift of giving, and they'll be just fine. I think the Patriots are contenders. Now, the other team that you spoke on is who?
I didn't give one yet. Real quick, the Patriots. Okay. I think they're the best team in the AFC.
Yeah,
I think it's simple. Mike Vrabel, shout out to him.
Yeah.
The concern I have is their weapons aren't fantastic, but this is just a hard-nosed football team. This is the team that's going to run.
They make it
through
work.
Your mouth. And with the AFC, it's weird. The NFC seems like they've got a bunch of juggernauts. You got the Packers who are in the wild card. You got the Lions who are potentially in the wild card. The AFC is the opposite. You got teams that are new, like the New England Patriots, and teams like the Denver Broncos, 10-2. 9-game winning streak. Let me start this off. This team, they're pretenders, bro. I'm out on the Broncos, and
I love their defense, but I agree.
I respect what they've done, and you got to look at this stretch, bro. They've beaten teams. They've beaten good teams. They've beaten the Eagles. They dog-walked the Bengals. They beat the Jets, beat the Giants, beat the Cowboys by 20 points, beat the Texans in a close game, beat the Chiefs as well. This is a good team.
So why do you call them pretenders?
I just don't trust the 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏 led offense. I think this is a grit and grind team, and I think that this is a team that is going to give opposing quarterbacks problems. I really buy into the whole quarterback notion. And I know this may seem crazy because I was just banging the drum for the Seattle Seahawks, but I think they're different. I think they're in different spots because this Broncos team, I think that they can win a playoff game. I do.
Yeah,
I do. So
right?
maybe that means that they are contenders. But I don't know how far 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏 and this team can take them. I think Sean Payton has done a fantastic job with this team. I think the way they built their defense is fantastic, but I still think if they get matched up against an alien like Josh Allen, I'd still probably take them. If the Bengals sneak in, I'd probably still take the Bengals over the Broncos. So where it falls for me is this 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏 offense, because I still have not been confident in them, and I've also not been confident in the rushing attack as well. That's where it also falls.
Yeah.
RJ Harvey, I like, but they're throwing in Jaleel McLaughlin. I'm just not fully bought in on them. So what they've got to show me, in my opinion, they've got to show me more consistency from an offensive standpoint. So that's where I fall. But what with you, contenders or pretenders?
I think they're contenders, but they also is the second team that I've said this about. Everybody else I'll give you straight shots for, but for this team, there's an asterisk next to it too. Defense wins championships. Have they looked a little shaky over the last couple of weeks? Yes, but I think that has been credited to the inefficiency of the Broncos offense. Now, there's two different 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏s you can get.
Yeah.
But the one that they hope can pop up is the one that played against the Giants, the one that played against the Cowboys. That 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏s, this team can make a deep run, especially if they get a home playoff game. I think they have a very good chance. I think them losing JK hurt a whole lot, as far as now there's just not the consistency of having a number one back there, or having a strength of having a running back by committee. Now you're putting a lot more on 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏's shoulders, and this is where that comes into, is that can he shoulder that load? I don't know if that's the case, but I will say we have seen 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏s playing incredible football in some games where they've been shootouts and he stepped up to the challenge. The playoffs are a completely different, animal, and I get that. But to just give you a straight answer, because I'll just do a whole bunch of talking and not give you a straight one.
You said yeah.
I'll say that they're contenders. I'll give them contender.
Yeah,
but like I said, as an asterisk.
Yeah, I think that their defense has been great, and this is a team, they've won games. You can't take that away from the nine game winning streak. I just got to see them do in the playoffs. I think I've seen them win a lot of these close, low scoring games. And while that can work in the playoffs, I'm just concerned on the 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I think 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions over the past 4 games.
Yeah,
just kind of creeping along, just getting wins. But shout out to Sean Payton, shout out to the Denver Broncos defense, and shout out to the culture that they built. What a turnaround that they've had over the past 2 seasons. So last team I want to discuss real quick, Houston Texans, and this AFC South is weird, man. It's weird. You had the Colts,
3-team race,
bro. Like, you had the Colts at the beginning, were the surefire team, and now they're fighting for a playoff spot.
They're all separated by a game.
Yeah, they're all separated. So talk to me real quick. Who's your favorite out of those 3 teams? The Jaguars, Colts, Texans. If you had to pick one to say this team can make the most noise in the playoffs, who would that team be out of those 3?
Texans. Why? Because I think they have the least as far as when it comes to, I guess you would say, Defense wise, I think the Texans put themselves in position either way. I've seen them, like I said earlier in the show, get to quarterbacks with 3-man pressures. God forbid they send you 5. So at that point, I think they put a lot of teams in fiascos, and they just got done beating the Colts, who I would have said the Colts, but with a fractured fibula and Daniel Jones, he's not 100%, and I don't believe in no Anthony Richardson at all. If he ever gets thrown into the game, he has a confidence issue, and he doesn't believes in what he sees. Their defense is good in talking about the Colts, but they need more help. I think Sauce Gardner has a calf strain, and that takes away your number one corner. I think they're dealing with injuries, and it's unfortunate. They're dealing with injuries at the end of the year when you need your guys on the field, and these are critical games, especially in a division race as close as this. I like honestly, all 3 of their defenses are good, but I just don't believe in the Jaguars' offense at all. And I'm not taking shit into consideration after playing after playing the Titans. I just don't. I don't see what y'all might see if you are a Jaguars believer. But I really don't have too much to say about the Jaguars. I think they just play football close enough. But the Texans, if CJ Stroud can show you something that he gave in 2023, I think the Texans are a team to be feared, especially with health being on their side. The number one receiver looking like a number one receiver. The rookies in Higgins, specifically, has been huge for them. They have competent tight end play. I think they're a team that can do some things. I don't know if we're doing whole contender or pretender for them, but I would say the Texans are my best bet out of those 3 right now, given health.
Yeah, I like that, and I think respectfully, I don't really care about these teams right now. I think the Colts, the Colts are the one that they've got the most potential. It depends on the Daniel Jones injury, but they got the most potential because you've got an offense that, with Daniel Jones healthy, I don't know what defense can really F with these weapons. Michael Pittman Jr., you've got Alec Pierce, you got Tyler Warren, you've got Jonathan Taylor out of the backfield, you got Josh Downs in the slot. This Colts offense at its best can be dominant. So I don't really, it remains to be seen.
Coming off of a loss to the Texans?
It's coming a loss to the Texans. Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think the Texans defense is what you can have the most excitement for right now if we're talking playoffs. So, and one last thing, Crypt Keeper said, Danny player hating from the sideline, Denver for real. I'll make this short. I just don't think they're for real. And the one point I will really point to is the past couple of games, this team, they've rushed for 2.5 yards per carry. The J.K. Dobbins injury is something that's not getting talked about enough because I like 𝗪𝗓𝗏. The dude is a stud. They're just not playing him. It's like they're throwing in Jaleel McLaughlin, and that's where I have real concern because we talk about playoff football. We talk about hard nose. We're going to win a close game. You ain't doing that without a running game. You've won the past 3 games, sure, but that is going to come back. And I believe JK's probably out for the early playoffs. I think they said if he makes a Super Bowl run, he might return. If you want one point that I'm concerned about, and if they can prove me wrong, it's that running game. So that's why I'm concerned about this.
And that bleeds into the idea of, time of possession.
Yes.
Keeping your defense off of the field, not stalling out on 3rd down, and putting yourselves in manageable 1st and 2nd down situations, even 3rd down. You if you don't have a run game, or if you do have somebody back there who's capable of creating a run game to, bandage over what JK left behind, it is 𝗪𝗓𝗏, but he's just not getting the tick that you would expect. So what is the game plan? Put the ball in Bo Nix's hands and hope that he's able to, pull some strings and wheel you to the playoffs. But that's not a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Now, do I agree that they are contenders? Yeah, because I think their defense is fucking nice.
Yeah.
I think their defense is the real deal. But the offense has to be more consistent. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, though, if there's any team, that we talk about. Yeah.
For sure. So once again, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for tuning into the show as always. Like I said, we've got the Monday or the Friday morning show tomorrow. We got fantasy football Fridays, and we got a little UFC conversation tomorrow. So like I said, if you guys are watching, do me a favor, click the like, turn on post notification, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Thanks for tuning in with us on the Sit Down with Malik Wright YouTube channel, and we will be back tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Hope you guys have a good day. We'll see you guys next time.
This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well, you